I used to be a drug addict, yes, but I have not used in over a year.
In over a year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we was to put months and a date on it, what would you say?
It's been 18 months.
18?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. So we're closer. We're flirting with 2 years almost.
Almost.
Hey, congrats to you. All right.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
I feel the same. I feel the same way, and I'm laughing because I already seen this parole hearing, and this parole board will not challenge him. They will just take it for what it is. They'll say, "Oh, whatever you say. Oh, I believe you. That's absolutely the case." And this man is an habitual, repeat offender, a violent offender, and he was only just locked up on June 11th of 2024, having a parole hearing 5 months later, almost to the day, November 12th, 2024. And it's that insane. Now, there's not a lot of details in terms of his crime, but I will just vent with you a little bit at the end of this ridiculous joke of a parole hearing. So with that, let's jump in.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
All right. Before we get started, want to go ahead and tell us your full name and your state ID, please.
My name is Nathan Merrill Gracie, and my state ID number is 693-3696.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gracie. Why don't you give us just what was going on that happened that led to you being incarcerated?
On March 16th, I recognized my neighbor driving through my property, and instead of calling the law like I should have done, I took the law into my own hands and broke his windows out of his truck.
Okay. And so taking the law into your own hands, what are some things that you understand today that you didn't understand at that time?
I guess the police are there to help me, not against me. You know, it would have been a better situation to call the police, go inside, call the police, and let them deal with it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then what about built up frustrations? You care to explain that a little bit that took place?
So it was just it's an ongoing issue with me and my neighbor. You know, I ended up, he broke up with his girlfriend and I started dating her. So he was angry about that and just kept, you know, I'm not going to say antagonizing so much, but just kept doing the things that I asked him not to do. So on this day, I got fed up with it. Instead of acting appropriately, like I said, calling the police, I just took it into my own hands.
Okay. Okay. And when you did decide to take it into your own hands, were you under the influence of any kind?
No, I was not.
No. Okay. And you haven't had any issues with drugs or alcohol?
I used to be a drug addict, yes, but I have not used in over a year.
In over a year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If we was to put months and a date on it, what would you say?
It's been 18 months.
18?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. So we're closer. We're flirting with 2 years almost.
Almost.
Hey, congrats to you. All right.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Want that to continue. Okay. And before I turn it over, if I was to ask you any values that you have today that you didn't have before being incarcerated, what would you say at least 3 of those values would be for you?
I value my family, honesty, and all the relationships that I've gained over the years. You know, I took MRT, which is been really good for me to reset my moral compass. You know, be able to heal the damaged relationships that I've caused problems in. You know, being able to start that process of calling them and apologizing, or even just writing a letter, has been a big step towards, you know, success in my life.
And I appreciate you sharing that and what you were able to establish in MRT for, you know, recognizing your moral compass. because part of that came out when you were transparent by sharing that you would have or should have gone to the officers or gone through the authorities to also get out some help and get some assistance to some annoyance that you were experiencing.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, hey, that concludes my questions for you. I'm gonna see if my colleagues have any questions. So let's see. Jesse, you have any questions?
I do. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Gracie. I'm Jesse Rincon. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jesse.
So what are your thoughts about the time you've done so far? Yeah, just
I think it was good. It was good time. I mean, it was not everybody's going to tell you it was good time, but it was a good time for me. It was something I needed. You know, if I would have never took this MRT class, I would have never been able to, you know, I mean, start healing the relationships with my kids. You know, that's the biggest people that I've hurt in my life. You know, I'm not going to say that the other people don't count, but being able to write them letters and apologize for the things I do, and actually being able to have a, you know, a relationship now with my 17-year-old daughter that I did not have before I came to prison.
thank you for answering that. So when I was looking at your evaluation, I noticed that you had an immediate discharge on 11/15/23, and then you caught the new charges on 6/11/24. You have a discharge date that's coming up of 3/3/2025. You have a great opportunity, if you are released, to put this all in your rearview mirror. My thoughts to you, you're a C commit. For me, I don't want to see you no more. That's what that C means to me. So what is going to keep you together out there?
You know, being able to, when I went through this MRT class, I was able to set my moral goals, like my 1 year, my 5 year, my 10-year goals. And I'm ready to succeed at that. You know, I have a baby being born on December 17th, and I'm ready to move on with my life. I don't want to be here no more. I'm not coming back on my D number.
Okay, I appreciate it. I have no more questions for you. Thank you for answering ones I did have.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
Renee?
Yeah, how are you doing, Mr. Gracie?
Pretty good. How are you, Renee?
I'm doing all right. So, we've been clean and sober for 18 months.
Yes, ma'am.
So talk to me about what your plans are to remain sober.
You know, I've been working the NA program here at the prison, and you know, I know where the meetings are in Cedar Rapids to be able to reconnect with the NA program as soon as I'm released. My next step would be to get a sponsor and to work with them. There is a program in Cedar Rapids called the Crush program. I signed up for it as soon as I got here. It's just something that you write to them, they send you a number, you call them, you know, and being able to, having a recovery coach is what it is. You know, somebody, you know, when you're having problems, you could call them. They help you, you know, stay in. If you can't get to a meeting, they'll help you get there. And just be able to provide that service. You know, I signed up for it willingly, not because I was told to. And I think that will help me in a big way. You know, plus being able to go through therapy. You know, I mean, my kids and my kids' mom agreed to go to therapy. You know, to resolve some of the issues that we still have, because you know they're not going to be solved by a letter or a phone call. So I think between the therapy and then steps is a good thing for me.
I agree. So your past, you've been kind of violent in the past. So what's different now? You don't seem all angry today. So what's changed? What's different?
I'm not an angry person. Being able to find God has been a big step for me. You know, I've been attending the church program services here. Being able to get in retouch with God has been a big step for me.
Yeah, because the part of that being a C commit, right? We can't continue to be violent, or you're just going to be right back here. Whether you're using or not using, the violence isn't going to work, right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's going to have. And what Jesse said makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're almost able to close this chapter and put this away because your dates are really close. So it's going to be really important to focus on that, because you can be successful and put all this behind you. That make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I don't have any additional.
All right. Thanks, Renee. All right, Mr. Gracie. I'm gonna conclude my questions with no more. So this is where I told you I'm gonna turn it over to you, and now you get a chance to share any last additional information to add to what you've shared thus far before we go into deliberations?
I really appreciate you guys taking your time today to see me. That means a lot to me. I regret the things I did on March, things that I should have never done. And I can't apologize enough for what I did. I really do regret that. I appreciate you guys taking everything into consideration today and seeing me.
Okay. Thank you. Now I'll ask you just to go ahead and sit back, not engage us, but you just get a chance to listen to us, deliberate, and then I will come back and do my best to explain the outcome. Okay? All right. Colleagues, anyone wants to go first on Mr. Gracie?
Yeah, I can go first. I thought this was a good interview. It sounds like he's finally tired of all of this, which is what it's going to take to move forward. He's got kids, he's got things to look forward to, he's got purpose, he's completed treatment, he can articulate what he learned in treatment. He's been sober for 18 months, which is a huge, huge deal for him. He's got a great plan for continuing his sobriety in the community. I see this as a good plan. So I'm going to support the department's recommendation to work release. I see a substance abuse on the 40A. I'm also wondering about cognitive, because I think it's sinking in and I think there might could use some more of that, and a 50A. And I don't know that the 20B is necessary because he doesn't have time to get in trouble.
Right.
Right. All right. Mhm. All right. Jesse.
Thank you, sir. I think you had a good interview. I think part of this success to this interview is his willingness to learn and to soak it in. He said he worked on his moral compass, and that's huge. Realizing what's important, what's right, what's wrong, and just kind of put an underline of that stuff. So I'm in agreement with the DOC recommendation to work release. The codes I would add would be the 48 with the substance abuse. The cognitive I would add as well, as Renee said, and also the 50A.
Okay. And then just wanted to make sure no 10B, right?
Mhm.
Right. All right. And then the WRG C11B.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. All right. Hey, Mr. Gracie.
Yes, sir.
All right. You got a chance to hear my colleagues, you, and do some sharing. You didn't get a chance to hear my piece to it because I am in agreement with them. I thought you did a good job with your interview. I thought you were very transparent in you sharing what is better for you today and what you've learned than what took place beforehand. Decisions and choices that you made, was a red flag. You know how when somebody tell you something and it's like it's like confusing, and you raise that eyebrow like, uh-oh. You got that raised eyebrow on us because of the C commit. We do not, as my colleague said, want to see you again. All right. No D's. All right.
No D's.
All right. All right. That's what we're talking about. So with that being said, man, I want you to continue and look forward to you navigating through some of the things that creates your stress and continuing to try to be transparent, keep your spirituality, those values that you shared with us, the things that you learned, in MRT that also help you to build and further build a relationship with your daughter. So with that being said, we are in agreement with the DOC's recommendation. The code on that is the WRG and release rented C11P, so that you're able to go to the workers facility in Cedar Rapids. That's your destination. We also have the 48, so with substance abuse, once you're working, that's actually the age.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
So, by the way, the guy Moses, he actually makes Tillis look like a speed talker. I just can't do it. And, these hearings are about 30 minutes long. And what's crazy is that it shrinks down to 14 minutes when I shrink the intro and the outro when Moses leaves. That's how it's not just the slow cadence of his talk, it's that it takes him what would take, I think, any person about 3 to 4 words or a sentence or two. He needs to do paragraphs, and it doesn't make any sense, and it drives me nuts. That's a pet peeve. I could not work for or with someone who didn't take the people who he was with time seriously. And it reminds me of some people in political space. that it doesn't mean you're not intelligent. It doesn't mean that you don't have a high IQ. It doesn't mean that you're not, whatever. But it just means that you're not taking your job seriously, because all you have to do is think about, what is it that I'm trying to say? Let me write it down and have that done, put into words. Sir, what did you learn from the program? No, sir. So now going back, when you think about it, from the times that you were locked up and the programs that you took and all of the work that you did, and yesterday when I was walking, I thought of something, but listen, if you can tell us but what my colleagues were saying, it's the program that tell us how you were, I'm going to tell you what you think, and then you'll explain to me what you learned from the program. Sorry. I don't know. It's a pet peeve. Now, the craziest thing is that I saw looking at his face when he said the sober date. First of all, he makes the big mistake by saying, "Oh, I was an addict," right? I mean, if he had said that in Louisiana or even Connecticut, they would have just said, "That's not the. I just don't believe you." Or they would have given him the opportunity to say, "Oh, really? That's amazing. So you become sober. Wait, so you did this act, you broke into the car, gave up your freedom because you were on parole. This was like a revocation, or you were on probation, completely sober. Wow, I mean, that's pretty intense. Yeah. Okay, well, what did you do to become sober? What is it? What is your secret? Tell me." When they ask him his sober, how long he's been sober, he like throws up, "Oh, a little more than a year." Then they say, "Well, to give us a month and a date." He doesn't give a month and a date. He says, like, what do you say, like 18 months? You go, "Oh, wow, that's great. It's almost 2 years. You're underselling us." If you have asked anyone who has struggled with addiction and you ask them their sober date, they will tell you their sober date. And then they could tell you the last thing they drank and what they were doing. And they could, I mean, at least everybody who I asked has been able, without skipping a beat, to tell me that. And any of you in the comment section that is now sober, please drop it in the comments. We love to celebrate those sober dates. But no, he doesn't have a sober date, because in my opinion, he's lying. Again, remember, he's only incarcerated on June 11th, 2024. 5 months later, he has his parole hearing, and hallelujah, he's ready to go back into the public. I mean, to his credit, he at least mentioned like AA, and he had a plan. To his credit, we'll give him credit for that. That is way more than what we expect from Iowa. I mean, the parole hearings are covered in this very day. They were letting people out without mentioning any type of plan, without using the word AA or anything. Like, this was a whole new level of wow. But, they don't, and I don't have money. I mean, Sir Richard found something where he was stealing cars. This is from 2019. It was probably his initial offense. They stole vehicles from a restaurant parking lot. And this is 2019. Public safety spokesman Greg said they took the car keys from the pocket of a coat hanging near the restaurant kitchen area. So they took the keys from the coat pocket. That's interesting. And video surveillance showed them take the car. They used the footage to identify the suspects. And that's, I guess, what he was initially locked up for, or given probation or parole. I don't know. I get confused with this stuff already. It's too much. I mean, Sir Richard does have it in the notes. So then he breaks into his buddy's car here. He blames it all on him, takes no accountability. He also has, on April 4th, 2023, he was arrested for eluding and going 25 miles over the limit. So I think it seems like he ran away from cops, driving while barred, third offense, and violations of condition of parole. So that was in April 4th of 2023. And, so he keeps getting in trouble. But, what do we know? What do we know? We're just sheeple. So there you have it. And I wonder how long it's going to be till we see them back. I really do. But this is the great Iowa system for you. And with that, I'll let you go.
I used to be a drug addict, yes, but I have not used in over a year.
In over a year?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we was to put months and a date on it, what would you say?
It's been 18 months.
18?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. So we're closer. We're flirting with 2 years almost.
Almost.
Hey, congrats to you. All right.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
You are trash, Lindsay. You are trash.
All right.